can't get it.
But you see how much kidnappers are taking from victims and
Please, problem with all the stakeholders we are seeing, we need to get that, and I think we get that. The 3% for the oil producing community is too low.
But the support that is needed. And once you get the support, your airline people will blossom.
This is Nigeria. You need to give people sense of belonging.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of Inside Nigeria on Leadership Television this Thursday morning. Sorry, we are bringing the program a little bit late due to some technical reasons. My name is Winifred Odebo, and with me in the studio is a public affairs analyst, Samaila Musa. Samaila, it's a pleasure to always host you on the program.
Thank you for having
And I
me.
look forward to seeing much more from you on the program.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now let's see what the papers are saying this Thursday. We are flagging off with Nigeria's most influential leadership. Leadership on the cover has its headline story as APC PDP considers southern ticket. Hope of Igbo presidency dims over killings in southeast. As APC PDP considers southern ticket, hope of Igbo presidency dims over killings in southeast. Regional leaders blamed for worsening situation. It's not enough to deny us presidency, Ohaneze protests. Attacks unacceptable, Northern Group fumes. Tax ahead of 2023 elections challenging, says INEC. I'll take that headline story once more. As APC PDP consider southern ticket, hope of Igbo presidency dims over killings in southeast. Regional leaders blame for worsening situation. It's not enough to deny us presidency, Ohaneze protest. Northern Group fumes, attacks unacceptable. Tax ahead of 2023 elections challenging, says INEC. That's the story on leadership this morning. And before you speak on it, review the headline story, I want us to quickly take a look at THISDAY and see what THISDAY is saying, because it has almost the same story to leadership's headline story. APC zoning presidency to South, whose PDP in country. THISDAY, APC zoning presidency to South, whose PDP in country. Bala Mohammed, that is Bauchi State Governor. Ruling party's decision constitutes no threat to us. Leadership and THISDAY has almost the same story. So I want to speak to the headline story.
Okay. The headline on leadership who says hope of Igbo presidency dims over killings in southeast.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Is expected, and the reason is very clear. Because you can't even compare the killings in the southeast with the ones you've been having in some places in northern Nigeria in the past. iPod is actually causing the Igbos so much in terms of damage because already they've taken this bold original stance, which is very profound, and a lot of people are not comfortable with that. And to make matters worse is the fact that the leaders of thought that you think should be voicing out against what iPod is doing is either out of cowardice or for whatever reason they've been silenced over these issues. And so it's making people feel it's either they're actually in tandem or they're actually backing what iPod is doing, or they also are enjoying what is happening. And so if this is actually coming at a time when the Igbo is actually agitating for the presidency to come to its region. And then some groups who are actually at the forefront of the agitation, who should know better that politics is about negotiations, is about even bringing your enemies closer so that you can clinch that which you want. It's not a time to begin to, kill or begin to segregate. So it's actually going to cause you so much damage that in the long run, the effort you're going to spend for damage control is going to be far greater than the one that ordinarily should have just, enable you to win that election or to bring power back to your region. So really, it's very unfortunate. Whoever is behind the internal workings of iPod, there must be some illiterates who doesn't really know how power plays are done all over the world. You cannot be agitating for power, or even if it's secession that you want, you should know that you are better off to succeed when power comes to you. So if at a time when you are agitating for power to come, some other persons are saying no, it shouldn't be, and then it's at that time that you begin to kill a particular section of the country that actually has the highest voting strength. So really, it's going to send wrong signals across board to feel okay if we cannot retaliate by killing Igbos in the north. So what we can do is to now express that during the ballot system. You understand? So, and that is actually very, very damaging for the Igbo presidency agitation.
But if I may cut in, we also have a worrisome trend. They are killing their own people and inflicting more hardship on their people. You see the directive they give every Monday that no shops should be open.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you manage?
Yeah, you see, that's why I said whoever is actually in charge, it must be some illiterates. We've mentioned this in the past quite a lot of times.
Every Monday they said no businesses should open, and who is there?
Especially when they were
they are the one doing the businesses. At the end of the day, they incur loss.
Yeah, when they were killing police officers, majority of which were also Igbos. What message are you trying to pass across? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, these are people you should even be protecting, to say that when we eventually get this nation, this Biafra that we're talking about, these are the people who are going to run the police. You understand? Because those are the ones who already had the training. You understand? So they are the ones to now begin to run your police, in charge of recruitment and stuff like that and training. And then you begin to kill them. And then when you look at the economic side of it, by declaring Mondays, and everybody knows in Nigeria that Mondays are very important days for business. So, and then you're declaring sit at home. Of course, quite a lot of Igbos comply, not because they love what is happening, but because out of fear, you don't know what will happen to you when you go out there. So really, whoever is doing that, because look, you want to make a point to me, for instance, then you begin to kill your children to make a point to me, to tell me that you are angry. You are more than stupid.
It doesn't make sense.
You understand? You're more than stupid if you're killing your own child just to make a point. I mean, to make a statement to me so that I will know that what I did to you were not happy. It means you must be a madman even. So really, it's unfortunate if. But what I found very appalling is the fact that we still don't have Igbo leaders who have the balls, to call a spade, to really keep condemning what IPOD is doing. You understand? I mean, the only person I've heard so far talking about them is Joe Igbokwe from Lagos. Perhaps himself. Sometimes back, I know they went to set his house ablaze in his hometown. So that really aggravated his utterances the more. So really, it's unfortunate. And then when you cannot leave even a country in the hands of mad people like this. Let's assume you are getting Biafra tomorrow. Are these the same set of mad people that are going to run the country? Because nothing is making any sense in the long run, not economic sense, not political sense, nothing. You understand? So you cannot hand over that nation. And it's obvious the way they are in charge of making statements and everybody cannot counter what they say. It's obvious that when they get Biafra tomorrow, this set of people are the one to run that country. And that would be like going from frying pan to fire. And even the iPod leader, we saw his utterances in the past, how that he talks like more than even Nigerian military people don't even utter such utterances when military was ruling this nation. When he utters like a tyrant, declaring who and who to be killed per time. And even when his own authority was questioned in the UK by the executive members of the UK iPod, we saw on audio how he was vituperating that he dissolved all of them just for questioning him about the whereabouts of $1 million. He started vituperating that he dissolved all the executive members of the UK IPOD members. So really, these are just jokers that shouldn't be taken serious. But I expect at this particular time, especially for these politicians who are interested in becoming president from the Igbo extraction, should look for a way to begin to fight these issues that iPod is actually running, because nobody is going to take you serious if you cannot control your own home. You cannot, you have nothing to display to me that you can control Nigeria in the long run if your own house is actually on fire and you can't do nothing about it. So that's how unfortunate it is.
Still on the APC and the PDP presidential ticket, I just want to give a permutation on what is going to be like in 2023. Let's with these days a headline story. It says APC zoning presidency to serve puts PDP in quandary.
Yeah, okay, so you see the problem again
so
for
peradventure APC beats a southerner as its
presidential candidate,
and PDP
you
by
see,
all means cannot do same.
You see, quite a lot of times when political parties are trying to field candidates, they are also looking at what's the profile of this candidate. Is this candidate sellable or not? We've had a number of issues where you find members of a political party who are the most qualified to clinch a particular position in the party or to become president, but because they are not sellable, so it becomes difficult for the party to field such individuals.
But sometimes, if I may cut in, initially when the president Jonathan
was coming,
yes, he was not so sellable, but the party did its best to sell him. Same with the late President Musa Yar'Adua.
No, okay, you see, these are the differences. The differences was that Jonathan was coming in as a vice president.
Yes, when he was coming in as vice president.
So, and Yar'Adua, who it was the ruling party who was bringing him in at the time, is coming from the north.
Yes.
Now, we all cannot rule the fact that the north have an edge over the rest of the regions in terms of political strength.
Yes.
You understand? So it's a bit more easier.
Perhaps that's what PDP is looking at. That's what I'm looking there. PDP, because there are speculations that if APC peradventure zones, now that it has come out to say that it's zoning its presidential ticket to the south, that PDP cannot do so. It's going to zone its own ticket to PDP. So
now you see, until we get to that stage, don't believe what APC is saying yet. Okay. The issue is that if you notice, every line that the PDP told in coming to this stage is what the APC is also copying. Initially, the PDP said they zoned the presidency to the south, the chairmanship, the north central. You understand? Now, when it came to a stage before they went into that convention, some other persons tried to sponsor, some northern persons, politicians tried to sponsor candidates from the south, such that when it comes to presidential election, they will also have that as a leverage to say, yes, when we zone the chairmanship to central, people from the south also contested. So even if you say you're zoning it to the south, the presidency, we also have the right. I mean, constitutionally, you cannot take that right away from us that we can contest an election. So they are trying to, now APC is also towing that line. Now, after that convention, that they came up with a consensus candidate, and I also heard from reliable sources that the consensus candidate agreed with the bloc that if eventually there is no way out, we are zoning it. I mean, we were leaving it free for everybody to contest, and eventually another candidate emerges as the presidential candidate, you are going to step down, and that he agreed to. So if you notice, APC also, with all the noise, all the postponement, is now coming to a consensus candidate. You understand? Yes. Because if they actually dare to go into that convention without having a consensus, that will have been the genesis of you understand, of APC. Now, having mentioned that, we have from reliable sources also that Abdullahi Adamu is now the preferred candidate by the president, which ought to have come long ago.
Okay, so but they chose Sani Musa, Niger State before.
Yeah, I mean, this, in politics, 24 hours to election, anything can happen.
Mm.
You understand? So, which the president ought to have, taken this posture earlier on. The APC wouldn't have been in this crisis they've been having for the past few days. But because the president was so lackadaisical about his approach, until they got to this stage, as a matter of fact, some persons were advocating for Al Makura,
Yes.
thinking that that would appeal to the president that is from his own original party, which is the CPC. You understand? So, and then he gave an excuse to say that he loves somebody who will be more firm and who cannot be intimidated by anyone, and he feels Abdullah Adamu fits into that, So we are hoping they will zero in on the Abdullah Adamu. And again, if you're a student of history, you will know that he's also from the PDP. So really, there's nothing anybody can actually say, because I will love to see where he will want to be saying quite a lot of things against the PDP as the APC chairman, that he will be able to absorb himself to say, no, I was not part of the PDP that ruined this country that I'm talking about. You get what I'm saying? So really, we're waiting to hear that from persons like that. But so, having said all this, at this stage that APC is, after the consensus candidate must have emerged, that is not to say that another candidate might not emerge as a presidential candidate. Worst case scenario is Abdullahi Adamu a night to that he will tender his resignation letter or something to say for reasons best known to him he wants to resign, and then he will allow a southern candidate to come. And you see, in politics, it's about interest. You see, the same Igbo people that you are thinking that none of them will want to be a partaker of anything that is outside the Igbo's extraction in terms of the presidency. Some of them will be the one to come and instigate their another counterparts to say, look, if it's also person over our dead body, so we would rather prefer you to go. You understand? Because they felt, oh, if social person is there, their interest is more protected, and perhaps they also are in one position or the other that would keep them in power perpetually. So really, you can't really tell, and especially the Igbos is one of the most divided ethnic group in Nigeria. I do not see the whole Igbo land actually coming out en masse to support its candidates. There are saboteurs who are Igbo leaders who will never watch that to happen. If it's not coming to them, then let it go to somewhere else. And, that is going to play out in the long run.
Okay. Now, let's just see the governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, that the ruling party's decision constitutes no threat to us.
Yeah, because they all know. Yeah, they all know how these games are being played. You understand? It's about coming out to say, well, so Igbo man is now my running mate. Perhaps that Igbo man has even more clout than the one the APC chose. Because quite a lot of people are still looking at which Igbo candidate you think is that sellable at this particular time, with all this baggage that the Nigerian populace will want to vote for him. Now, don't forget that the Southwest is also there. So we're still coming to, because when you zone it to the South, that is not automatic that it will go to a Southeastern candidate,
or a Southwest or a South.
You understand? So South, you have three regions in that place.
Yes.
So really, it's not an issue to say if you zone it to the South, is it Southwest or Southeast or South? So, and as we speak today, in the whole of Southern Nigeria, apart from maybe Jonathan, I do not see any candidate from the Southeast who has Asiwaju's clout politically. You understand? Because at least to a large extent, you can say is holding down the Southwest to maybe 70%. But there's no Igbo candidate today that you can say that has that political influence in Southeast that is in control of two states in Southeast. So really, that is another dilemma that that they're coming to face in the long run.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. That was a good analysis. Now let's go on a break. When we come back, we have two more papers on our menu for review. That is the Punch and our sister publication, National Economy. Don't go away. Stay tuned.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Yes, welcome back. This is Inside Nigerian Leadership Television, where we review papers, headlines, newspaper headlines, stories, and commentaries. Now, the paper we have next on our menu for review is National Economy. On the headline story says, airlines lament 60 billion naira loss to flight delays, cancellations. Airlines lament 60 billion naira loss to flight delays, cancellations, as AON denies compelling members to increase airfare. Local airlines exploiting Nigerians, experts say. Airlines lament 60 billion naira loss to flight delays, cancellations, as AON denies compelling members to increase airfare. Local airlines exploiting Nigerians, experts say. Wow, that's both passing.
Yeah, I think the association of these airline operators are just looking for flimsy excuses to hold on to, because when your flight is delayed, is it the fault of the passenger?
That is one issue that has been ongoing since, because passengers are lamenting. Many passengers will go to the airport for 9 a.m., 10 a.m. flight. At the end of the day, they leave the airport 12 midnight, and sometimes attract cancellation for no justifiable reason.
Yeah. So if they are coming out with this figure to say this is how much they lost, to flight delays, is it the fault of the passenger that his flight was delayed? You understand? So they should be able to really put things in proper perspective, in the sense that there are a number of factors that can make your flight to be delayed, and the only cogent one is that issue of weather, that has to do with weather. Sometimes some flights are built to actually land by 6:30, but because the weather is not favorable, they keep hovering on air until maybe delay for another 15 minutes, or in some cases even go back to where they're coming from. And those are actually rare cases. They don't happen all the time. But these flight delays happen every day in Nigerian airports. Happens every day. You hardly hear a week pass by where you don't have issues where people are actually protesting that their flights have been delayed for like 6 hours. In some cases, it will even be denied. Just about a month or 2 months ago, a lawyer, sued one of the airlines. I can't remember the name exactly, which of the airlines sued them because his flight was delayed till I think maybe midnight or maybe the next day. You understand? And you see, quite a lot of times they don't follow these things procedurally. No proper channels of apology. There are no informations being passed to passengers on a one-on-one basis to know the reason. Because if my flight is being delayed, you owe me an explanation as to what happened, not just to send me back and say, the flight is delayed, and that's all. That ends it. No any explanation whatsoever. And even when you cancel the flight, you just say the flight has been canceled. No any proper explanation to what happened. What is the apology? You should give me options. You understand that this is what can happen. We're going to give you a hotel as compensation that you can pass the night if you don't mind. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. A lot of times, nothing. And that's why when people sue them, they are demanding for all these things. They are demanding for a public apology, demanding for some monies to be paid as compensation. So really, they are just trying to pass the blame, which actually it shouldn't be the case, actually, because in other climes, people are actually up and doing in regards to when your flight is being delayed, because they know the laws there, that when people sue you, sometimes you will regret even floating an airline because of the damages they're going to claim in the long run. So unfortunately, this is Nigeria, so anything can actually go.
Yeah. Then we have the increased airfare. So what do you have to say about that?
Yeah.
Now the airlines operators of Nigeria are saying that they didn't put it so, because we had it that They said flight should not be, the minimum should be 50,000 naira.
Yeah. Well,
They are
whether
coming out to say
they are denying it or not, the facts are the facts are there. It is what it is. You understand? So the flights, the minimum you can get a flight is 50,000 naira. So where is it coming from? So where is the uniformity actually coming from? You understand? So it's not about just issuing statements, flagrant statement denying things that are actually obvious that everybody can see. If they can point at 1, 2 flights that are doing below that, they can say, oh, so and so flight. They're still maintaining their own fee. It's only this and that actually increase for number of reasons, XYZ. But if that is not the case, really, I mean, there's not even any point trying to deny this fact, because so what is your association doing? If you did not issue that statement, or you are not behind the increment, you should be able to come out and put everybody back to line to say, this is your stance. No flight should be even up to 50,000 naira. So that makes more sense, that because these are some of the things the associations are meant to do, to regulate the system and also to defend the organization against external forces. So if you cannot regulate what happens within, so another airline can wake up tomorrow and say its own flight is 200,000, and then you can't do anything about it. So why not just dissolve the association and let everybody just be free to do whatever they want to do?
It's a good one. We're moving over to the last paper we have for you this morning, and that is the Punch. Headline story says Constitutional Amendment. Outrage as National Assembly considers life pension for presiding officers. Outrage as National Assembly considers life pension for presiding officers. Is wasteful, self-centered, reject it. CSOs tell lawmakers. Is financial burden. Committee recommends pension for Senate President, Speaker, deputies. The Punch. Constitution Amendment. Outrage as National Assembly considers life pension for presiding officers. Is wasteful, self-centered, reject it. CSOs tell lawmakers. Is financial burden. Committee members recommend pension. Committee recommends pension for Senate President, Speaker, deputies. Wow.
Yeah, you see, this kind of things are actually not new in Nigeria. We've seen a lot of times where outgoing governors begin to tamper with the
with
constitution.
all the emoluments they
That's why I'm telling you.
them.
That's why I'm telling you that it's not new. It's what they did in the states. Once they are retiring from the states as governors,
They come to the Senate.
they come to the Senate. So it's part of the things they did in the states that they got away with, because we saw instances where outgoing governors tamper with the constitution of the states, and it was passed through the state assembly, where you hear life pensions for the outgoing governor or for whoever becomes the governor of the state, and maybe 2 or 3 staff that will be on the payroll of the states, car allowance and stuff like that.
Have house in Abuja.
You understand, and then even office in Abuja, and another one in the states that will be funded by the state. So these are some of the things that they've got away with in the states that they are bringing to the National Assembly. And you can imagine, if you know how much money these people are actually making away from the National Assembly with the name of different packages, even either as sitting or as outgoing, it's actually humongous. Not to not start talking about you want to put them on life pension. This should be rejected by every well-meaning Nigerian. It shouldn't actually see the light of the day, because this is just trying to rape the system, and actually exploit the taxpayers of their money. Yeah,
it really is. And one would have expected that they would think about how to trim financial burdens down, but instead they apply more. Like, for instance, they said they want to increase the women's participation in national politics, National Assembly. They want to increase, and that will also entail another financial burden.
Yes.
I mean, Do we have the raw resources?
You know, the one of the things they actually
Why
failing
can't
to
they say, okay,
realize
out of the 199 senatorial seats, let's mark this for women
number
instead
for
of
women.
creating more?
Yeah, you know,
Doesn't
one
make
of the things they are actually failing to realize all the time, which you will know that these people are just not patriotic enough, is that
Yes.
Nigeria is actually at a brink of collapse.
Mhm.
Nigeria needs urgent need for people to actually pull it out of this doldrum. It's not a time to begin to burden the country with so many other expenses.
Yes.
You understand? There's so much going on in Nigeria today that you feel that every other person should have focused their attention towards that. The insecurity is there.
Yes.
Attention should have been focused more on that. The economic issues are there that attention are up to.
Dependent economy,
You know,
just on
so
oil.
but everybody is just trying to see what they can actually make out of the system before it finally collapses, because that's what their body language is saying. That, well, we also have seen it. There was a time this same National Assembly, we had from reliable sources from Dubai that at a particular time, I think about a year or year plus ago, that we had about 80 something honorable members of the National Assembly in Dubai, and about 40 something senators of the National Assembly in Dubai, not on any official function. It just happened that the Dubai authority was able to get that statistics based on their entry, and they were there, and the reliable sources say majority of them, what they were doing is buying houses. When you buy a house, you have a stay, just to have a stay in Dubai, because the notion is that perhaps they perceive that Nigeria is going to fold up very soon. So let them have a safe haven somewhere that they can actually just pick their bag or their file and just jet off. You know, so really, whether that is true or not, when they begin to do things like this, you are forced to believe what those perceptions that really perhaps those things are actually true, because you wouldn't expect someone who have this country at heart to begin to now. Is this a time? Is a time where we even supposed to be, you know, cutting on expenses? Yes. Is a time where some of them should be able to say, well, I am well to do enough. I want to suspend my salary. Stop paying me in the meantime.
Trim down their expenses.
You understand? But unfortunately, they are just having throwing parties all around the place in the name of governance.
Another worrying issue too, still on the constitution amendment, is the issue of security, as you mentioned. And even despite the clamor for state policing, they turned it down. They said no.
Yeah, they will.
So what are we talking about?
They will, of course. You always know their body language, you know, and especially this National Assembly, you know,
when the security situation is become unabated.
You understand? By every iota is actually seen to be a rubber stamp National Assembly. So whether that is true or not, when they begin to take this kind of steps and stand, you are forced to believe that, well, these issues. And you see, I think the executive ought to also stand up, even if the National Assembly is also derailing. Sometimes you don't expect a Buhari's government to actually be in support of this kind of wasteful spending. You understand? Of what benefit is this to the people who voted for them to go to the National Assembly? You understand? So people who are supposed to be servants are trying to turn themselves into emperors over the people who actually elected them to go to the National Assembly. You didn't go to the National Assembly from your constituency as a Senate President or a Speaker or a Deputy. It was when you got there that, because there must be a leadership, somebody needs to provide sense of direction, that your colleagues actually voted for you there. So you should know that that is not your primary duty of being in that place. Some people have sent you there to go and do, you know, something on their behalf. And unfortunately, all you are doing is just trying to be self-centered. Every interest will have to hover around you. It's unfortunate, really.
Very, very, very unfortunate, as they also concur. But before we go, let's go over to leadership newspaper. On top of leadership this morning is our Vogue magazine. It's an all colorful, all glossy magazine. It's actually an insert in Leadership Sunday. Don't forget to get a copy of Leadership Sunday this Sunday. It's an experience you wouldn't want to miss. Just grab a copy of Leadership. Well, that's what we are calling it a day on today's Inside Nigeria. Samala Musa, do you have anything to say before we round up?
Okay. All I have to say is that the ruling party also needs to be very careful in, the people who are coming on board, or how they manage the crisis within the party, because like we have always, put out our fears in public domain that perhaps there's another motive of not holding this election. You understand, or perhaps trying to hand over to an interim, such that it's a decoy. You feel, oh, instead of just supporting this person, eventually you just want to make it look like, oh, it's because of the crisis that didn't make it happen, and of course the president will have to vacate office, so let there be an interim government. We just hope that is not what they're trying to claim. But at this stage, I think the president should sit up to know that part of his responsibility is to make sure that this crisis does not escalate. Because if it does, whatever a ruling party does or did not do have a way of affecting the rest of the Nigerian populace. So that's our take.
Thank you so much. Well, viewers, you heard it all. This is what we call it a day and draw the curtain on today's Inside Nigeria. Don't forget, tomorrow is another day. With me on the studio has been Samela Musa. Samela, it's always a pleasure to have you. I keep saying it over and over again. So I look forward to seeing you more in the program. And I remember Winifred, but don't forget, tomorrow is another day. Keep it. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.